Right, October Red. I'm back with the lovely, said the best legs in the game, Frazer Clarke. The name sticks. It's been a minute. So, you know what I'd like to do first, Fraser? Of course, welcome back. Of course, I'm happy about the fight, which we're going to get into. But I just want to touch on the Mariusz Wach fight first, because we haven't caught up since then. So, talk to us a little bit about that fight and how you think it went.
My assessment of the fight was good, but can do better. Great learning. I've took a lot from it. Do you know what I mean? A lot from the build up, a lot from the camp, a lot from the actual fight. And to be honest, I just sort of forgot about it now and just took what I need to take from it. Just another fight, done and dusted, and move on.
You said that you took a lot from it. What would you say is probably the key thing that you took from that fight? Fighting, a veteran, somebody that we knew wasn't just going to fall over like a sack of spuds.
I think your preparation has to be. You have to train really, really hard, and your preparation has to be immaculate, because it's all right being in there and being able to do 10 rounds. How you do 10 rounds, you'll be able to go through the gears, you'll be able to change the gears, accelerate, decelerate. And I felt I was just a little bit one pace in that fight. I didn't really turn the screw or change the gear enough. Maybe because I wasn't able to physically, I don't think, at times. It was difficult circumstances as well. But I think I learned, you know what, even though I thought I was fit and I did the rounds comfortably, but you wouldn't be able to go through the gears. The best fighters, man, they can shift the gear when they need to.
And we talk about shifting gears, we're going to shift fights. I know it's just like a quick summary on that. But the heavyweight division, you guys, the prospects. Now I'm going to touch on two fighters. I'll go to the most recent one, actually, because you were at Frank Warren's show Saturday just gone. Telford, Moses Ituama, the heavyweight down there. Talk to us a little bit about him, because I know you've been quite complimentary of his style, the way he is. But that fight, watching it live, what did you see?
No, you know what? I think the style and the skill is there for all to see. And we do get carried away with everyone in this country. People get carried away with me, get carried away with everyone. It's a young heavyweight because we want to see them do well. But I think people do have to remember his age. You know, he's still a very young man. He's got a lot of maturing to do, and to be doing what he's doing at this level at a canter, pretty much, is very impressive. You know, but I think as he matures, as he develops, he would only get better. But he's still, you can see, the bread and butter's there. In terms of the skill, the international experience as an amateur, you can tell he's been around different styles. He doesn't panic. He's calm under pressure. But the same as all of us, and I think he'll be self-admitted to this. Until it reaches its full potential, he's still got loads to go. Same as we all have. But nevertheless, if he's someone to be excited about. It's definitely someone to be excited about. And I think the excitement lies in how much more there is to go. Do you know what I mean? There's still so much he can add to his arsenal. Like we all can. Find it difficult sometimes sitting there me talking, because listen, there's loads I can learn, there's loads I can do better. But I'm just saying it is from like a boxing person, sort of. I think he's already fantastic, but he can be twice, if not 3 times, better, and I'm sure he will be as he develops, as he learns more, as he gets more in ring experience with the right fights. Remember, even this opponent, I've boxed this guy. He didn't want to throw a shot. He knew he was going to get counted, and he was getting counted heavy with some big shots. But once again, I think like I say, he's still a young man, still needing to learn to go through the gears himself. And I think as he physically matures, be able to do the rounds better, be able to pick it up, slow it down when he wants. But yeah, at the minute, his skill set's just far superior for any of these opponents.
I like what you've said there. The fact that Bracamonte, the fact that you fought him, you stopped him. I can't remember what round it was.
This one was Espindola.
Espindola, that's it. Sorry. Yeah, I do get the pair of them mixed up. Espindola. Yeah. So that fight there, what you mentioned about upping the gears in your fight, a couple of the commentators were saying they would like to have seen Moses up the gears. When it came to the last round, he really started to let his hands go. And I thought if that bell hadn't gone, he probably would have got a stoppage. If that was an 8-rounder, I could see the stoppage on the cards probably in the 7th, the beginning of the 7th.
Yeah, I think so. But at the same time, it's a two-way street because you don't want to just go punching arms and guards. So he was doing the right thing, essentially, being in front of him, chucking a few feints. But some of these opponents, if they don't want to counter, it's just like it becomes impossible sometimes. You know what I mean? But I think he was doing the right things in terms, being patient, feinting, not rushing, not just throwing for the sake of throwing. But sometimes when they are like that, just from experience, I just think sometimes you have to just set about him. Do you know what I mean? Set about him a little bit. And when he did, it looked really good. It's impressive, especially the punch power and punch selection is really impressive.
So we're going to move on from that. I want to cover, obviously, Matty Harris. I did a few conversations with him before.
I was so tired.
Yeah, I'm boring him.
No, I trained hard this morning. He was with me. I worked hard. It killed me. Go on.
Matty Harris fought, is it Dobichenko? Yep. Who Moses Ituama went the distance with. Now, I know that you and Matty Harris have sparred. Obviously, you're sort of like at the same fight number in your career. You're all still like prospects. Talk to us about that fight, because he did get a lot of stick online. I gave him some stick as well and said, it's the fitness, what let him down. He knows that whatever I say to anybody, I'll say it to him anyway. But your thoughts, you're a professional boxer. You're sat there, you're watching that fight. What did you see?
I think sometimes stick isn't a bad thing for one. I think it's a wake-up call, which may be needed. Boxing is easy when you're splatting people in 50 seconds and 1 minute. It's easy then, but the reality is that isn't always going to happen. And I have to have a little bit of sympathy with him in terms of he's a novice. I think he had a short amateur career as well, 6 fights. Whereas I was one of the ones when he did turn pro saying. He could have stayed. He could have been in Sheffield. He would have been in Sheffield. He would have been working on them guys. He would have been getting international experience. But shoulda, woulda, coulda. Chose to go pro, and was wiping people out, which is all good. But came up against someone who was just a little bit stubborn, a little bit tough, and then he blew a gasket, which is easily done. But then once you do that, you've got to know how to look after yourself when you're blowing a gasket. We train a lot in this gym in adversity, so sometimes I'll spar. I'll get into sparring, and say I'll only have a 4-round spar at times. But before that 4-round spar, I will do some conditioning on the bags, and I will really get the heart rate going on the bag. So I'll get into the ring actually in a state of depletion, and then it becomes about trying to win rounds whilst you're tired and survive whilst you're tired. Like training like that is good for the mind, and it's hard. You get hit with a lot of shots, but you have to learn to look after yourself, and you do it in sparring in big gloves and stuff. So that's actually good. So I feel like there's probably a lot of things that he wasn't doing. So it's an easy fix because all you got to do is start adding the things he wasn't doing. That being said. So I've spoken to a lot of. I've never been never been the fittest of people, but I know what I need to do to be able to compete and to be able to win and to be able to be fit enough. You have to work really hard. I've always been told there's no excuse for that. I can remember a few times I lost in the amateurs and I said I wasn't fit enough. It's not a viable excuse. There's no excuse for not being fit enough. There's a road you can run. You can work a punch bag with a lot of effort, throw a lot of shots, and work hard. That's what heavy bags are for. Not for looking good for little clips for Instagram or little pad sessions. Like where you look $1 million for 10 seconds. When people are hitting your back and you have to empty the tank. This isn't. And I'm not throwing no shade in either. This is just reality. Like the hard stuff on your own. When it's really difficult. That's what you have to do. But once again, I just hope that someone somewhere still shows the belief in him, because there's no doubt he's a talent. There's no 100%, he's 1,000,000% a talent. But now I think it's about getting people around him now, good mentors. And like I said, I spoke to you earlier, there's a lot of people that have a lot of love for him, there's a lot of experienced people in the game that I've spoke to over the last week that want to reach out, they want to help this kid. So I think he's got to pick somewhere or someone or a group of people, and he's going to have to go. He's going to have to feel uncomfortable. He's going to have to get into the. I did a run last night. I listened to that like 40 minutes. David Goggins.
Oh yeah.
I listened to him, yeah, and I'm telling you now, like he do well listening to him. He's got to learn to like live uncomfortable, be uncomfortable, train uncomfortable, spar uncomfortable, fight uncomfortable, because it's going to happen. I hate sitting here preaching because listen, there's still a lot for me to learn. I could blow out any time, but I'm working hard so that doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? So all I do is I wish him the best. I sent him a message after. I sent him some condolences. I was trying to be real, but not harsh, but real. Do you know what I mean? And especially, me and him, we haven't always seen eye to eye either, but, I don't want to see a young brother waste an opportunity of a lifetime, which is what he's got. Being the fighter he is, being the having the skills he's got, it'd be an absolute waste if he didn't go on and do good things. But that has to start from the second he came out of that ring the other night. And I hope now you tell me, you speak to him, he's doing some good things. I know he did a killer session last week in London, conditioning session, where he was in a bit of a bad way, but that's good. It's nice to be there, and I think he needs to be there a lot more. So I wish him all the best.
Such a mature approach and an experienced approach from, say, like a senior in the boxing level. When you kind of, there's this pecking order, albeit that you're all prospects. There's different levels to the prospects, and it's nice that somebody from your position can actually look and give a fair, balanced view, and throw in a bit of advice as well for the young ones coming up, because you know what the younger generation are like. Sometimes we were all young once, and we've got hard ears. A saying that us Jamaicans would say.
It's the thing. I'm not preaching, because the two names we just mentioned, they're probably better than me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not. No, they're good. They're really talented boys. There's been loads of people better than me. Loads of. Do you know how many fighters have been gone through the same pleas that I've been better than me? So many. But I have other things, not just my talent. I have a lot of other aspects. You know what I mean? So. Remember, talent isn't everything. It's a huge part, but talent isn't everything. So, for what I lose for in talent, I make up for in grit, determination, work ethic, goal setting, focus. So, this is not me throwing shade on. Remember, young brothers. This is me wanting to see everyone do well. This is the same as all this. You see this back and forth between me and a few of the other guys, the other heavyweight.
Jamie Takivi.
Jamie, Fabio, David. You see us going back and forth. I might be a little bit mature than all of them, and all I want to do is I want to see everyone do well out of it. In 20 years' time, I don't want to turn up to a boxing show and see one of them struggling. Do you know what I mean? In 10 years' time, I want to see everyone done well. What we've had our fights, we might have had our disagreements. What's going on? Oh, I'm doing this in business. I've got some problem. That's the person I am. I ain't got nothing personal against no one. But I want to eat more, but I want everyone to do all right. Do you know what I mean?
I like it. We talk about eating more. We're going to move on to the fight that you've got coming up next. Everyone's got their opinion. I think it's a good fight. Dave Allen, a very experienced, tough fighter. Talk to us about that fight, how it got made, because there was some suggestion that they tried to make that for Fabio Wardley for a title fight, and the BBFC wouldn't have it as a title fight. Now, that is allegedly. I don't know how true that is. But moving on to him fighting you, talk to us about the process for that.
I don't know nothing about that, but all I know is I'm on holiday the week after my fight with the missus and the kids. But you're not really on holiday because your phone's always on, and if business comes through, I'll get a phone call. It's nice to be in a position to have one fight on the Saturday, be on holiday on a Wednesday, and have the phone ring about another fight. That's a nice position to be in as a fighter. Do you know what I mean? That's a lucky fighter. The phone rang. I had a conversation. A few names out there. A few names put out there. Dave Allen's name was put out there. So I just thought, that could work. He was with everything that went on with me and Fabio, blah blah blah. That kerfuffle. He was rumored to be fighting Fabio. Now he's not fighting Fabio. He's an English name. He's a solid fighter, solid man. He's a lovely man as well. He's not got a beautiful family and stuff I've seen. So I just think it made sense, and I think people were getting a little bit sick of me fighting. This sounds bad, but a little bit sick of me fighting foreigners, because people thought, oh, this guy's coming in for last minute. Dave Allen's had full notice. He had a good camp, the same as Mariusz Wach did. Same as but Dean knew that was a bit of a late replacement because we had a fall through. But Sokolowski full camp, Whack full camp, Dave Allen full camp. So I think it's a good name, and considering my progression, and considering everyone was over the moon for him to go and fight for the British title. So why not fight me? So I think it's a good fight.
And that is the double standard of boxing. You've hit the nail on the head there. People were quite happy for him to go for a British title fight, but when Frazer Clarke gets called, it's like, oh, what's he fighting him for? The usual. Yeah. Your words.
Yeah, it is. You have to take it with a pinch of salt nowadays. And like I spoke to you before, I'm becoming the Iceman. I'm numb to it now. Numb to it. I don't care. Dave Allen's a name. 2nd of September. Nothing else really matters.
Skills and attributes is something I always ask, and I'm mindful that you can't give away game plans, but there's plenty of fights for you to look at Dave Allen and maybe pick up some of his habits, some of the things that you can exploit in the ring to ensure that you get that win. When you see him, what would you say his strengths are?
I'd say he's physically tough, he's mentally tough because he's been through a lot. He knows how to do the rounds. He can punch with both hands. And I said this, and I got some stick, but I said he's elusive. And people say, oh no, look, he gets punched all the time. But if you actually watch the way he fights, he keeps his head moving constantly. He's got that sort of a bit of the Sheffield sort of style, with a bit of other things mixed in there. Do you know what I mean? So he does come from a few wicked angles and awkward angles. It's I've seen a lot of styles in my time, and he's definitely got one of the more stranger styles, let's say. But I'm taking him dead serious. You've seen the work I'm putting in. I'm doing good rounds with different good fighters. I'm running well. So I'm training, punching very well. I'm injury free, thank God, injury free. I'm just taking this more serious now in Fight 7 than I've ever took it. Whether that was Dave Allen or anyone, that was a conscious decision for me to make. But it is Dave Allen. I'm taking it very serious.
I'd say he's taking it just as serious as you are as well. A thing I like about this fight, yes, it's a British, it's a domestic. I always get excited about those because you would have seen the caliber of both fighters. You would have studied them probably a little bit more, being patriotic to the British boxing community. He is coming to win. He is not coming to have a boxing match. He is determined to win this fight, and I'm not saying that your other opponents weren't coming to win, but there's something different about this, and yeah,
there definitely is, and I have to respect that. First and foremost, I respect that. Me and Dave aren't best mates, but we get on well enough. We've known each other a long time. I have to give a special mention to his dad. I think his dad's such a great character and really always showed me a lot of love. So this is it's one of them fights where after no matter the result, I'm sure we'll have an embrace. But ultimately he's just someone else who's in front of me, and he's where I'm trying to go. He's in the way, so I have to do what I've got to do.
Like you said, ice cold. We'll leave that one there. We wish both of you all the best for that fight. Looking forward to it. But we're going to speak about 258, your boss, Anthony Joshua, going in against Dillian Whyte. The time has took away so quickly.
Ain't no one my boss. My brethren. Ain't no one my boss.
Okay, I got put in my place there. Mr. Anthony Joshua himself, Mr. 258 himself. You're repping the colours strong. Talk to us about that fight then. Dillian Whyte, theoretically fight number 3, professionally fight number 2. What is there to look forward to with this fight?
There's a lot. I think you start off just the two names, the history, two Londoners. It's always going to bring something. I was down there yesterday, and obviously Dillian, Joshua, different ends, different fans, different supporters. A lot of people want Joshua to win. A lot of people want him to lose, and it's the same for Dillian. Good fight though. Obviously, good matchup. At this stage of careers, I think it makes a lot of sense. And I'm just interested in the fight, how it's going to play out. I mean, I think Joshua looks really good from what I've seen and speaking to people. He's been sparring well, training well. But I'm sure Dillian has been doing the same. I know he puts himself through hell. And when he's on it, he really gets himself into good nick. And I think this one, I know he had the big fight with Fury. This one's different. When there's a personal touch in there, it's different, man. When you're fighting one of the ops, it's different. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I look forward to it. I mean, there were two lads before. Now it's two grown men, two businessmen. They're going to fight for a lot of money, and they both want to win because they see the bag afterwards. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a can't lose for any of them. Even though both they'll both be all right afterwards. Even a loser can go on and put up big fights still. Do you know what I mean? It's not like the end of the road. Like I've seen that a few times. When you're them two, and the state that boxing's in at the minute, them two are going to have fights no matter what. Good fights. The state of boxing needs characters like Dylan Whyte, people like Andy Joshua. There's not many headliners out there in a minute. Them two are headliners, so either way, they're going to get big fights. But obviously, I've got to support my brethren, my friend Joshua, and I do think he'll devastate in fashion, like take him out. I really do.
Yeah, I did shout out at the press conference that I don't think it's going 12 rounds. Either way, I just can't see it going to points. A couple of people said that they do believe it can go to points. Look, he's yawning again. He's bored shitless. We're going to have to wrap up,
Right. Usually have my afternoon nap, innit? I can't really see points. If they've both got that, if they've both still got inside of them what they want to have, then it won't go to points. If it does go to points, one of them or both of them have lost something.
Touching on that then, finally we can touch on Terence Crawford and Errol Spence on the weekend. And the only way, well, you know why that moulds in, is because Derrick James is Errol Spence's trainer. He said he was getting straight on an aeroplane, coming over to London to get AJ settled in for the next 2 weeks for his fight.
You can't dwell. When you're a world class coach and you have fighters, you can't dwell on defeats, or you can't celebrate wins. Your job is to go and get your next fighter ready for his next fight. You have to forget about that. You can't sit there upset. It's happened. There'll be a time to grieve. There'll be a time to put things right. But right now, that's a professional man who's here now, and he's just all focused on AJ. So credit to him, man.
It's that succession of fights because it's kind of like 3 fighters back to back going against it. One with a questionable win, a win but questionable. Another one with a devastating loss, and then another one that's, I know you said that both fighters can go on to, but this is a key fight for Anthony Joshua.
It's massive. So it is massive. It's massive for Britain. Great for Britain. I'm over the moon that the fans get to see another big heavyweight clash. We had a good run of them, and it probably slowed off a little bit. But I think we've got one to really, really get our teeth into. O2 will be electric. I remember all my security days. I've been O2 bare times for bare big fights, but this atmosphere the first time was one of the best. Was one of the best ones I've been to, seriously, and I think it'll be the same again. Good undercard as well. Good heavyweights on. Johnny Fisher, obviously going to do a shitload of tickets. He's fighting Harry Armstrong. Good match for him this stage of his career. Ergovic and Dempsey McLean. Yeah, I think good fight. if Ergovic is what the real deal that we think he is, we probably should take him out. Dempsey into a clean opportunity of a lifetime. Go and blast your way into the story, mate, and put yourself on the front line. Do you know what I mean? Just some good fights. A good night. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, boxing seems to have taken a turn for the better towards the latter part of the year, and it's good to see that you're part of that. Listen, Fraze, we're going to catch up fight week. No doubt I'll probably see you next week at AJ's fight anyway.
Yeah, be there.
But yeah, it's always a pleasure. You're going to get your little bag puss napping before you go back for your second round of training.
No, I can't not today. I just have an early night later. I'm on the road again later, but I'll have an early night. This is the life, man. It's the life we chose, and I love it.
Guys, get behind Frazer Clarke. Get buying tickets for his bout that he's got coming up. We really need to get behind our British fighters. Guys, if you're from Derby, Burton, anywhere around there, you really, yeah.
I'm not even. You know what? I'm not really done like the ticket push how I feel I could. But if you are, because when I was an amateur, I can't wait for you to turn pro. Anyone that said that, and have not copped the ticket off me yet for one of the fights, I remember you. And remember all the people, especially back in Burton, everyone that I've done a solid over the years, from being in a club in town where you was getting bullied. Oh, Frazer, man, this guy's giving me grief. Let me go and have a word with him. To the signed gloves, to the showing up at your son's football presentation, or sponsoring your kid's football team, or come buy a ticket, man. Come support me. It's nice for me to hear local voices, local people. I understand it's difficult financial times, but listen, I'd really appreciate your support. So this is not me on the beg, but no, it's nice to feel supported by local communities, Brummies, Midlanders, everyone. Come get me support, and also go and support my boy Galal Yafai boxing August 19th in Brum. Yeah, headlining hometown show, Olympic gold medalist, loads of other local talent on there from Birmingham. So let's get behind the Midlanders, guys.
Things we love to hear, Frazer. An absolute pleasure. Until the next time. Hi, and thank you for watching October Red Boxing. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications. You can also find us on Instagram at October Red Boxing and on Twitter, October Red UK. And remember, at October Red, we stay ready.